What's up, fishy friends? Welcome to Tim's School of Fishing. Class is in session. This is a Viperate slip, and inside of this slip is the RYDER APTA. This is one of their new modern slip joints. This is copper. I think this is VG10 steel. Super snappy. It's got a half stop on it, walk and talk. Listen to this. Listen. That copper just gives it a different sort of acoustic. So we are going to modify this. Now, I have two options. We can shipwreck it, which I think that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to shipwreck this one, but I'm also going to get another one of these exactly like this, and I'm going to flame paint it. If you've never seen copper flame painting, look it up. Some people know exactly how to do it. Some people just do it randomly, which is probably what I'll do, and see what colors turn up. But we're going to shipwreck this one. I'm going to put some Vaseline petroleum jelly over the little bolster part so that this part does not oxidize, because I want that bolster to still look like a shiny copper bolster. And then we're going to shipwreck, oxidize the rest of that. So we're going to need some ammonia. I don't have that. We're going to go to the store and get it. We're going to need some salt. You can really use any kind of salt. Rock salt is a little better because bigger crystals. I've got some rock salt. We need a little Tupperware container and a couple hours. So let's go get some ammonia and modify this bad boy. Ceiling fan staying on for this one, boys. Sorry, I'm doing this in the man cave, and then I'm going to close it up really fast, but ammonia. So, ceiling fan, deal with it. All right, so we have our copper scales. We've got our knife taken apart. We've got rubbing alcohol and my firearm cleaning patches to clean off those scales. We've got ammonia and salt for the oxidation reaction. We've got some clear coat to spray on those scales after the oxidation reaction. We've got some petroleum jelly and some Q-tips. What I'm going to do is put petroleum jelly on that bolster because I don't want any oxidation on that bolster. I could clean it off later, but it's just as easy to do it this way. And we've got my little fumigation chamber. It's just a Tupperware dish with a little hammock made out of aluminum foil that I'm going to rest the scales on, and some paper towels in the bottom where I am going to pour the ammonia. Let's get this camera turned around and shipwreck this RYDER APTA. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is clean off these scales, because if there's any oil from your fingers on these scales, it will prevent the oxidation from happening, and you could actually end up with fingerprint patterns. So I am going to wear gloves for this part. I have a size extra large hand, and these are size small gloves because that's all I could find was my wife's leftover gloves from when everybody was freaking out for nothing over the pandemic. But I digress. We're doing science here today. I used to be a science teacher for 20 years. Alright. 20 years I was a science teacher and a football and track coach. But now I'm not a science teacher, but we're still doing some science here. This is desktop science. Ooh, I spilled a little alcohol. I spilled a little isopropyl alcohol. Good thing it evaporates quickly. Alright, let's give them things a good little rubby rub. No problem. Ooh, it's a good little, give them a little rubby rub. Get these bad boys nice and clean. We're only going to do one side, so speed up that drying process a little. Put that in over there. done with that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to coat the bolster part with petroleum jelly because I don't want any oxidation to occur here. So by coating it, we should make a nice layer, protective layer, so that we're not going to have any oxidation there. I would do it with my fingers, but I've only got this one pair of gloves and I don't want to, you know, inadvertently get petroleum jelly on other parts. All right, now the fumigation chamber. All this is some paper towels down in the bottom and some aluminum foil folded over that I'm going to set the scales on top of. All right. Now, there's a couple different ways to do this, actually. You can just put paper towels in there and lay the scales directly onto the paper towels. Or you can do it like this, where you're basically just, oh crap, that didn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this paper towel, and this is going to be my dropper. And I am just going to sprinkle drop some ammonia on there. All right. And then I'm going to take my wife's fancy salt. And everywhere that that salt sticks to that ammonia and the copper, that is where we are going to get the oxidation reaction. So let's seal this up, let it do its thing, and we will come back and check on this in a couple hours. All right, so our oxidation reaction has been going for about 18 hours. That's a little longer than I thought it was going to take. However, I did not scuff the copper on here. I should have taken a very fine grit sandpaper and lightly scuffed it. So the petroleum jelly that I put on the bolsters worked a little bit, but not completely, and that's because I continued to sprinkle ammonia on it every few hours, and I think it just didn't hold up to that long. So we got some really good colors out of this. Now what I've done is I've run it under the water very, very gently, and you can see that as it starts to dry, I'm getting different shades of blue. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to let it continue to dry. Then I'm going to take some Brasso, because I'm out of Flitz currently, but Brasso and Flitz work the exact same in my experience. I'm going to take some Brasso and I'm going to clean these bolsters and shine them back up. I'm going to eliminate some of those black areas, and then I'm going to come through here and do a little bit of detail work, just some little touches of brass, and I'm probably going to break this area up so it's not one solid thing. So I'll shine that, I'll get rid of some of the black, I'll polish up the sides. Over here I'll do the same thing. I'll polish up the bolster, and I'll work through here to try to kind of make some waves of brass. I'm sorry, waves of copper. I think I misspoke and said brass. Waves of copper through that sea of blue. And I will see you guys in just a minute. All right, here we go. The final product, the Shipwrecked Copper Rough Rider APTA. I really like that blue color. I got some really rich turquoise-like blue color out of it. So what I did when it came out, I cleaned these bolsters. I took some sandpaper and I sanded all of the oxidation off of the edges to try to create this sort of shadow box effect. And then I took these little micro-applicator brushes. Now, let me tell you about these. KPL sells 50 of these for $8.99. I get 500 of these for $5.99. You get 5 packs of 100 in this bigger bag. Each one of these packs has 100. KPL is using the exact same thing in the exact same bag, and they are splitting this in half. They are selling 50 of them for $8.99. And I use these to clean out the blade channel on my slip joint knives. I use these to clean out the pivot well on, you know, all of my knives. I've linked these down in the description if you want to grab some. These come in really handy for all your knife maintenance. Anyway, I took some of these, I put a little bit of Brasso on it, and I sort of started coloring, right, to try to bring out a little bit of brass so it wasn't just all black and blue. When I did that, some of the blue oxidation started to flake off and fall off. So one suggestion, if you're going to do this, and if you're going to, you know, try to do some detail work to bring out some more of the copper, I would suggest you put a very light coat of clear coat on it first before you do any kind of detail work, so that, you know, you don't lose your oxidation and it doesn't flake off. Because when you do it this quick, this oxidation is not very deep into the copper. It's really just surface oxidation. So if you're not careful, you will lose some of it. So after I did all my little detail work, I went to put a top coat on it, and I was about 12 inches away when I put the top. So I wasn't really close. I had already lost some of my color that flaked off, so I stayed way far back because I didn't want to blow any of it off with the aerosol can. But when I sprayed it on there, some of my blue turned black. And I'm not really sure why that is. And then I had to come back after I top coated it and do a little bit more detail work. And then all in all, I put about 3 coats of top coat on it. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I like that deep blue color instead of a green color. It's almost a turquoise. I'm going to get another one of these, and I am going to use a handheld torch, and I am going to flame paint it. Turned out pretty good. Not exactly as I had hoped, but I did learn a lot of good information so that if I ever try to do this again, I know some of the things that can possibly go wrong. Thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting. I enjoy interacting with you guys in the comments. That's it for this episode of Tim's School of Fish, boys and girls. Class dismissed.